Hey, here with Ram, who's been a longtime student and very successful in the world of book publishing. And he recently shared his story with me about the success he's had actually creating a program that helps people, authors, when it comes to building a fiction based book business and also coming up with a program for nonfiction. And the really cool thing about this is, Ram, you have this approach as you're talking to me that allows you to really free up a lot of time where you're not constantly working in your business, the ability to outsource, have people managing things so you have time to spend with your family. Right. A lot of times, authors or people, entrepreneurs, you're trying to build a business, and sometimes you're spending so much time on the business that the real reason why you may have gotten into this, things like freedom, things like being able to be there with your kids and your family, or being able to, support the lifestyle that you want, sometimes that gets taken away. And so, I really am curious to hear more about your journey and then, kind of what you set up in terms of your business structure. And then if people want to learn more about what you're teaching and modeled your type of business, then you have that available. So I appreciate you being here with us.
Yeah, thanks, Derek, for the opportunity to talk to you. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it didn't start off like this. I took the very traditional path. I went to two of the best colleges in India, and everyone literally forced me to go to the United States. And I was more spiritual, going around to the temples and meditating all the time. And obviously, that was before meditation became the hot thing. And I was playing my cricket with the friends, and I was very happy with that sort of simple life. Then yeah, entered into America just when this thing, what is it? Bill Clinton's term was coming to end. The stock market was ready to crash. The job markets were going off. But thankfully, I worked in a programming language which was very hot. So I got into a Fortune 50 company. And in terms of job, it was great because I had pharma, finance, and all those good things. Money was good. And then I still worked on my career, right? And it was interesting because the one thing that did not accommodate was the cold weather with New Jersey. But other than that, it was a great experience. I had a lot of great friends and stuff like that, and things were going great. But there was this week which pretty much turned everything around. It was in 2010. So we were expecting our second child. I mean, that uh, he was still on his way. And before that, we became permanent residents of the US. In that week, I cleared CFA level 2, which was a very in-demand financial education. And so all this happened in one week. And the final day of the week, the doctor called me. I was working for the CFA exam pretty hard. I thought maybe because of the strain. And he told, did you know that there is something called Lyme? And I told, no, the only thing is I drink juice from that. That's the only Lyme I heard at that time. Yeah. He told, go check it out. And he told, the next day he called me and he told, you're very lucky to be alive. The infection has been there in the body for 3 to 4 months, actually. And I told you, your days may be numbered. And that got me thinking. So I worked so hard to come to a place, and we were on mortgage, one small kid and another one way. And I don't know, I was like really into a panic mode at that point of time. And that got me started on this path, which obviously, you know, the big mind shift was then choosing how to make money without traveling, because I was absolutely almost like bedridden for a year. And thankfully, because I was working on a software which I designed, the company gave me flexibility. So it took a lot of time. And at that time, I was thinking how to make money when I don't travel, right? I started searching the typical how to make money online. And on one side, Lime was taking away my savings. And the other time, I was buying products and I was not actually doing, I was absolutely not sure what I was doing. And it took a lot of time to come out of that. But once I settled in, and that was a good time for introspection, because after all this work was to have a loving family. You want to spend time with them, give them what they want, and it seems like none of this was going to happen after like 10 plus years of life, and that was scary. You don't want to have the last days of your life going away like that. So thankfully, things got settled slowly. It did took time because Lyme is not uh, I don't know what to say. It's not easy disease to handle. Uh, it breaks you down physically and mentally. So thankfully, because of my earlier, and in fact, after moving to America, somehow then the spiritual part was taken away because the pressure of the career building took priority. So I went back to the spiritual studies. Took a lot of time. Went to natural healing and all the stuff, and then finally hit the model of Kindle. where since I didn't have a lot of time, thankfully the job was still giving money. So I thought I have to build something if in case since the days became months because I was recovering. So thankfully that is how the system started. It was not intended to be that way. So I can be an accidental publisher I became, and thankfully I was able to find a small sub niche which was in demand. And since I was very spiritual, so it had a theme of God and people fighting to survive. So basically, it reflected my story, but in earlier part of American life when there was war and all these things going on. So I was sort of connected to the stories. I was never a fiction reader, actually. The closest to fiction I read was Hardy Boys when I was in school. So I was more non-fiction, self-help kind of thing. But this thing clicked so beautifully that then slowly I saw the opportunity to hire people who write better fiction than I did. And what started as three books over the first week became $1,000 month, even in the first month. I thought this is something I can scale up. And then we decided, I was the only son, we decided we'll move back to India. And in 2 years of that time, I slowly built that business. The goal was to get to $100 a day, which I know people have crazy numbers, but if you have $100 a day and you stay back in India, you're going to live like a upper middle class life for sure. And New Jersey, I could not do that. So the goal was clear. We had to move out of New Jersey because with the fragile body I was having, I cannot strain. And that was the constraint I was going through. So I told $100 a day, consistent for 4 months. We'll move, take care of the parents because dad was getting older. He was getting close to his mortal end. And that was what drove. So dad's health, my own health, a simple target of $100 a day. And this happened much, much quicker than what I thought. In about 2 to 3 months, I was there. And then it's continued. The good thing is continued so beautifully. It went to four, five, six, 7,000, and I think $8,000 was the maximum. I didn't scale it up beyond that because again, then, but by that time I had my project manager who basically hired people. So all I did was to like spend initially 2 to 3 hours overseeing the story because whatever we publish in like two or three small niches. So I understand the niche, I understand the audience. So even when the writers come, I just go through the stories and make sure it falls the tropes, understand that was the key thing. So the first thing is find a small market. It's easy to be a big fish in a small pond on the big world of Kindle. And that's how it started. And if you want something specific we can go on because there's so much emotion that's coming through. I'm not able to like really put words to that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So, the recap, you had a really, great job, and then you get the news you have Lyme disease, and for those who don't know, Lyme disease can be really devastating, like you mentioned. So, this is another concept is that the constraints that we have in this case health constraints and it could be hey, I want to spend more time with my family, stuff like that can actually prompt sometimes the breakthroughs, because it's like, well, if you have your health constraints and limited time and stuff, then it sort of quote unquote forces you to be like, well, I'm going to need help with this. I'm going to need a project manager, help with writers who can help produce these stories. And so you're now more of an overseer, just like in a typical company, a manager or CEO, they're not the ones in there doing all the work. They're overseeing the people who are doing their job. So it got you into that, starting to build that out. And, you got to the $1,000 a month, and then you scaled up from there. Now that, by the way, $1,000 a month is more than many authors achieve. So I am curious, some of how you started to make the sales and stuff like that. We don't have to get like super into it, but you mentioned finding the small market. You understood the market. Even when you have writers working on it, you're overseeing, making sure, okay, are the right tropes and concepts in there. When you launch these books, though, in the early days, when you first start out, I mean, we tend to not have much of an audience. So how did you go about promoting the book or spreading the word or getting the initial sales for these books when you first started launching them?
Yeah, before getting that part, the good thing was before, like, because I was in technology, I was able to reverse engineering the bestsellers. So that gave me a head start. Obviously, there are now better tools with like KDP Rocket and stuff like that, but I did it annually. That was in like 2015 or something. So I was taking time because the one thing I had in excess was time because I was not able to do much travel. And the job because I was able to like just shift myself from employee to a consultant and just give them ideas on how to handle the software I'd architected. I had extra time, so I spent like a real good amount of time, and then I saw there are few small subsections in Kindle where you can see like same authors coming up over and again, and these are not like big authors, so I just made sure they're all independent authors, so that made sure, okay, independent authors. So the next thing I checked was the number of words or sort of pages. So I guessed, okay, let 10,000, because $10,000 I mean 10,000 words book will cost you around, at that time it was about $80. Now it costs about $110, right? So okay, I'm not going to write it, so I can invest $500, get 4 to 5 books done. So, and these are the books that are already selling. So first thing was that. Then second thing was all these books were only 99 cents. In fact, up to this point, except for the bot sets, which I do, we still do 99 cents. Because around that time, just after the release was when the Kindle Unlimited came in. And still, for fiction, I think that's the best thing, because even now, when I just saw the stats last week, 80% of the earnings come from Unlimited. So the price is just to get them. And so the first step was, yes, making sure the market is good. Even though there are only 4 or 5 authors dominating that small section, I thought, okay, this is easier than, sort of going into a bigger market. Even if I have the content, as long as I give good content. And the good thing is, I almost read like 20 books, right, from different authors, like 2 or 3 books of each author, and I do like 5 to 6 authors, and there was an absolute common theme. So the only thing that changed was the characters, the topography, the location, but the core thing where people are moving from one part of the country to the next, and the struggles were common. So I thought, okay, this is a common theme that was being written. So that was the thing. So because that means once we have a common theme, we can replicate it over and over again, and people are reading it again. And some, in fact, after a research, I took a few days break. Seriously, it's the same story, and they're ready to buy. And that part was a huge shift, because later I realized, like, that when I was down sick and I didn't realize my release my weekly schedules, there were like emails asking when is the next book out. So there is something about the reader's psychology which I think authors actually don't understand, because we think we have to give the best, but probably they are happy with what we give, and we keep giving them what they love, and I think they're going to buy. That was one thing I learned through the process. But in terms of getting to the actual audience, um, to this day, we do only two things. One is occasional KDP free and Facebook ads. Facebook ads is what drive the initial for 4 or 5 days for $8 to $10 a day, and it took some time to get to the exact segmented audience. But once that was done, getting to the first week, this will take because it's a sub niche, right? It the books there are ranked between like 8,000 to 15,000. So I based on the experience, we can say like 50 to 60 sales over a week will get it over the 10, 12,000 mark in Amazon bestseller. And once it hits there, and then my next release is going out in the next week, then we sort of trigger the Amazon algorithm where already this author's book is there, and Amazon cards. In fact, it became so successful every weekly time release that Amazon chose me for that prime deal of the day and stuff like that. They keep doing a lot of stuff on their end as well. So the key is the initial Facebook thing, KDP fee promo. Once you have a catalog of books, I keep doing. Now I have like, I don't know, 400 plus short stories, right? So it is easy to do KDP free every week, at least one, and those bring in new readers. And Facebook ads is all I did. I tried Amazon ads for this one. For fiction, I am still to experiment more. But with the simple system of KDP free, 99 cents, and Facebook ads, it's enough to trigger. And the bigger thing is you have to have a very periodic schedule of 7 to 10 days. And that is what, because then Amazon is never going to lose track of this author. So this author is always doing some 10 to 12,000 BSR, and they're publishing frequently, and the readers are buying that, and so they have some sort of algorithm which figures that out. So they keep promoting, other than the Facebook promotion, they keep promoting things for you. And once I hit like about $3,000 per month, then I should have done it right at the start, and I would recommend that. Then had my free book and collecting of emails and the book funnel thing, and that took it to it, because now with every launch, this is much more powerful than the Facebook ads. Facebook ads probably push it from say unknown to like 15,000, but the emails is now pushing it from 10,000 to sometimes 7 to 8,000. And so collecting of emails is very, very important. If you can do it from the first day, that's the best thing. But obviously, at that point, book funnel subscription and all those things, we do have to consider. But things have become much easier now. If I think every email provider have their own landing page. Initially, I used to have like 3 or 4 different things to piece it together. Now, say I use Aweber, right? They have their own landing page. They have their own opt-in, like lead magnet. You can give a free story through that. So we can have one tool which can pretty much take care. And if you combine with book funnel, which took it from 3 to 6,000 was book funnel, because they have a lot of authors cross promoting each other. Now in the small sub niche, which we thought we are competing with each other, no, because users love these stories, right? So they don't care whether it is from author one or author two. They keep reading all these stories. So we can collaborate with other authors who are happy to promote your book. So in essence, that's it. Good market, 99 cents, Facebook promos, and then KDP free, and then collecting email, book funnel promos. That's it. I think that's the system in a nutshell.
Awesome. Yeah, and I hope everyone listening to this realizes even if this isn't the exact model that you want to do, there's still certain takeaways that you can get from this. So one is, as you're talking about, you really understand the market. So this is like a writing to the market to fulfill the desires of the market. And you pointed out something that's important, and you do see this with fiction, fiction in general, and it can also be certain segments of fiction, but a lot of fiction readers I I think of it like burritos. Like I love burritos. When I go to a restaurant, like a Mexican restaurant, I'm like I just want a burrito. And don't get too you don't have to get too creative with it. Just I don't like a burrito, give me another burrito. Like and so it's kind of like that with it's like their favorite food or whatever. It's like I want my fix of whatever that thing is. I like this certain type of story. It's following these, don't deviate and go too far away from it. Just give me more of the same. And obviously it's not exactly the same, but the same underlying kind of core concepts are in there. So they just buy it and buy it and buy it. And so if I understood it correctly, it was it a weekly? Every week you have a book coming out in this like a short
That's
story?
after, yeah, that's after the income was scaled up to about 3,000. Until then, I was doing one every 10 days in one market and one every 14 days. Because initially, you still do not have that catalog to give away free stuff. Now I can do a weekly one with the free one running all the time. So I'm sure some of the free is naturally going to become a customer. So initially, I mean, it depends on the budget. If you have enough budget, or if you are a writer yourself, then certainly this weekly release. Because initially I started with only 10,000 words, and 10,000 words for a good writer. In fact, now I'm starting to write my nonfiction, and I can pretty much get to that point in 2 to 3 days time. But yeah, if you can do 10,000 weekly, that's like the best combination. Now actually, because uh, primarily people are doing Kindle Unlimited, right? And the ad cost remains the same. Slowly increase the 10,000 to about 20,000. I do still do the 10,000 because that keeps the cost low once in a while. But it's now 80/20. 80% will be 20K and 20% will be 10K. But
Yeah, and actually, for me in the nonfiction world, one of my best-selling books is only about 7,000 something words, and I find that sometimes just short, sweet, to the point books. Obviously, that's nonfiction, but even in the fiction world, like a short story, it's. I mean, if you're a fast typer or if you talk and transcribe, I mean, you could get that done, like you said, in a couple days. I mean, if I work all day, I could knock out 10,000 words in a single day of writing. But I'm very quick at writing and typing. Also, you obviously, you have your team. So what is your team like? How many writers do you have working on this? Like, what does that look like in terms of, do you have like a writer A who's working on one story while another one's working on another? Do you have like multiple things going at a time, or how does that kind of look?
yeah, initially, yeah, it became challenging as the system was scaling up and hiring, because obviously there'll be writers who stick to you for a long time. And in fact, some of the my best writers are there with me for more than 5+ years now. And but until you get to that core team, it's always going to be attrition. People love to test and move. We also love to test and move, right? And then at the point I realized even hiring is going to take time. That's when I know my proofreader. So I just requested her, and now she's more like the hiring manager. So since she's better versed with all the grammar stuff, she can quickly make sure the writer is going to fit into our journals. She knows the journals as well. So at this point, there are three main journals I work on. One is a longer one, 25K words. So that is a monthly release. That's not the main money maker. That's just a fallback. The two main genres we do still weekly release, and for that I have like six in one and like total of 11 writers, six writers in one and five writers. They're writing all the time, and on average, I'll at least have like four writers for each genre. And we just hired, and this time we hired a little bit more because we didn't expect that many applications to come in. But the good thing is, because the theme is going to be evergreen, right? Especially in fiction, sometimes had buffer of 10 stories, which means when the writer falls off the track, they are behind schedule, or sometimes some of them are doing college and they're working on the side. So there are times when I had like no writers, and all these 10 stories were good enough to keep the business running for like 3 months. So yeah, if you have that little extra buffer, the really good thing about fiction, especially because the story is going to be same. So there's nothing like no AI is going to replace this 1800 story, right? So you can have those as a backlog. So you can adjust your release schedule accordingly. That's the thing. So basically now the proofreader editor has become the project manager and hiring manager. So I have become like one level above, where I just talk to her, and we need this many writers, and we need it by this time and for this theme. And pretty much that's why now the work has become like even 1 hour, and that includes publishing stories in two genres, running the Facebook ads, setting up the book funnel promos, and I'm testing out Amazon ads, so I have to spend a little bit time on that. So I'm not putting that as part of the system now, and that's about it. The entire thing takes 1 hour from my side, and I talk to her for like 10-15 minutes every week, and she takes care of the rest of the process.
So when you say 1 hour from your side, are you talking about 1 hour a day, 1 hour a week? Like, what's your
Oh,
total
yeah,
investment?
yeah, 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
That's like 15 minutes each for the two books to be for. She does the formatting also, but being I have all this preview for the previous books, and a few formatting tweaks which I do, and promoting the other box sets. So I just keep tweaking, and that takes like 10 minutes, formatting it into the way I want. So that for probably spend 15 to 20 minutes for each story, and then uploading into the Kindle. I still do that. I don't want to give my Kindle information, so obviously that I do. And once that goes, and because I don't know how Amazon makes it live, because sometimes I click and 30 minutes the book is live. So probably they have a track record of how many books published from this KDP account or whatever they do, because initially it used to take like 2-3 days sometimes, and now it's so fast that the same day I start running the ads as well. And generally I release it on a Wednesday, so the ads run through the weekend, and I send out the emails on Friday and Saturday. So, and this is like based on the testing, this is where the maximum viewership comes in. And free stories I either do on Monday or Friday. And even now the free stories, obviously the open rate. In fact, if you look at, if you take the stats to I don't know, proper internet market, they'll be scared, because I have open rates of like 70% for free books and 50% for paid. And I think they will die to, but I think this only happens with fiction stories. They're crazy readers. If I miss a day of fiction, they will be asking what happened to the next release. So thankfully, yeah, all this backlog, I can even give 2-3 free books, and it's not going to hurt the bottom line, and it feels good actually. And that was the other thing. I'm sorry to extend this conversation at this point, but one of the things that made me sure after the initial money came in and we decided to move was the with all this finance technical knowledge, I still like, should I build a SaaS service or this and that. Once you get healthier, you want to do multiple things, right? But then I had got a few emails. This is generally, these books are at elderly women, and there were few who were like really getting close to the end of their mortal life, and they told these books at such a cost like made me feel so good. That kind of emotional emails. I told, okay, so I'm doing something good other than making money and spending time with the kids. There are someone somewhere who are like feeling better because of these books, and that made my decision. Let me cut down on all the other things I want to try and just focus on and scale this up, and that's when it sort of doubled up the business as well.
And that's a really good sign when you have people, not only the open rates, but the messages saying from people how much they like your books. And obviously they're continuing to buy them. So that is, uh, it's one thing to get so focused on the business and the mechanics and how do I get books out there and sell them. And the thing is, a sustainable business means you're really putting out good quality books where once you have a fan for life, they're wanting to buy your other things. So that's a really good sign of what you have here. And you talk about an hour a week. So, I mean, you have, let's say, an average of a 4 hour work month. Some people think Tim Ferriss's 4 hour work week is unrealistic. You managed to make a 4 hour work month, and that is coming from someone with Lyme disease, going through the health challenges, having your family that you're taking care of, all of that going on. And so that's why I point this out because even if someone maybe if you just get a portion of this, I think the big thing that you're doing here, and I've heard Ben Settle talk about this, you're you're not just thinking like a writer and author, you're really thinking like a publisher. And that is
Yeah.
ultimately what you are. You're thinking like a publishing company and thinking just like a business in general where it's not all falling on your shoulders. You're going, well, who's the team I need to build around me? And obviously it didn't happen like this on day one. You have to find the writer. You have to understand the genre. You have to go first by understanding the genre, doing that research. So it's more obviously effort on your part to get it set up, to prove the concept. Then the nice thing is over time you're able to find more people. Some people come, some people go, some people stick around over the long haul though, and then build up a library. So maybe if writers aren't available for a while, you have that backlog of things. Then now you've built something that functions not entirely without you, but it doesn't really need much, more than an hour or so a week in order to kind of manage things because you have the other people on your team who are help doing this. So you built the systems, built the processes that you now can oversee that. And so, as authors who are watching, listening to this, I mean, there's a few takeaways that I'll recap. Again, you have that understanding your market, writing to market, keeping a simple business model. I mean, some people might hear, oh, a book like every week or hundreds of books and all this, and their immediate thought is, oh, I don't have time for that. And it's like, yeah, but how could you do it? And if you think that way, you might go, wait a second, I can actually free up more time if you are working with ghostwriters, or you go, maybe I'm going to focus on the writing, but I have someone else that's at least managing this, or I'll get assistants that help with this, whatever the case might be, even if that's just increasing the output volume a little bit and finding strategies. And again, I understand some people's business model is, hey, I just want to publish one book a year, and that's my big project that I work on and stuff. That's totally valid, and you can get some insights here from what you're doing here, which is like you went into some different genres, but it also doesn't sound like you try to do a bunch of things at once. Correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like you got something established, you proved that it
Yep.
works. Once it was up and running and that was solid, then you moved on and said, okay, now let's go into another genre. Is that how it worked for you?
Yes, exactly. In fact, I do work with my coach who has the system at a even working at a even higher level. He's he's sailing all the time. He's in London, and he's he's a weird character. He doesn't want to do product launches, and in fact, we'll come to the product launch story after this. What happened last month? So. Basically, yeah. So what I was doing was I was reverse engineering this journal, right? And then I found that this particular subgenre seems to be very, very good. And the stories were like, because there were a lot of like what is it? Billionaire romance, so some sort of weird stuff in Amazon, which unfortunately I've never read and I don't connect to at all. And but that was being sold as the quickest way to make money and stuff like that. I went through the courses. I cannot create those books basically. It was against my belief system. So I spent money, but then I discarded this. But this one, it was like having this faith element in it, have the struggle element, and all these things. It connected. I reversed engineer, and around this time, I'm sure you have heard David Lee Martin. So he's also in the author space, right? He sends an email like there is this coaching program where people, and I joined that group, and the first email was, I discovered this niche. How good is it? And he deleted my message and he DM'd me. This is the niche. We spent a year researching and finding it. We are not going to reveal this. So let's have a private chat. And from that day on, actually, his name is Neil, and we've been working one on one for like, we just have a chat for like 5 minutes. So it's not 1 hour every week, it's 1 hour and 10 minutes. With 10 minutes, I talk to Neil every week. So we just say, okay, are we going to go for, because I mean, for now, it's three journals we are publishing in, but that's the other part I missed because there were six journals which we published and which did not take off. And but the good thing was they were all break even. But there was this trajectory after 4 or 5 books. If there is no consistent sale coming in, then we have to slow down and think if we are going to continue in this journey or not. Luckily, the first two things which we researched and found out, they from that day on to now, they have been very, very consistent. And there are journals where the expectations are very different. So that is also, even though from outside and the research, I did as much research and made sure this journal one is as good as journal three, but journal one took off. And some books which we expected will do well. In fact, my best book was in BSR 800, 797 in the entire Amazon store. And this is just a 99 cent. And we didn't expect that because it was a completely different story in this genre. We just added a new character, and that character sort of connected with the audience. And then there was the typical thing which we expect always to cross 10,000, and that never took off. So sometimes there are all these variances which we should be ready, be open-minded, and the good thing is about fiction is even the ones that did not break even individually at this point, um, all the singles, right? They almost break even. And there are a few which do not cross the line with the writing cost and the editing cost and the ads. They cost like say 150 to $200, right? And mostly individually they come to close to 100 $150. And there are some which do $1,000 on their own, but there is this bunch which are like the lower layers. But once we bots them up together and put them, they are also going to make profitable because almost like we can guarantee in this business, there is no asset that is a loss making asset. Every single asset eventually either they become profitable initially or over time it does turn profitable. That's another beautiful thing about this fiction publishing for sure.
Yeah, and that's a great point because sometimes it's going to be an experiment. You go into something, you put a few books out, it might not take off, and then other times you might put something out and it's surprising how well it does. And you go, oh, I hit something, really big here. And there's only so much market research you can do ahead of time before you go, okay, this looks good, but we won't really know until we actually put some books out there. So now that you've started, you recently released a program that teaches more about your process, your business with fiction. You also mentioned you had something you're working on right now, potentially for nonfiction coming up. So can you share a little bit more about what you've created that can help authors, entrepreneurs, anyone who wants to create a business like this?
Yeah, sure. So it was a simple thing. Like last 8 years, I've been doing this, and this has basically changed my life. I homeschool my two kids, and the elder one just passed out of 12th, and he got his own book published, and he's into memory training, memory hacks for speed learning and stuff like that. And I didn't push them in terms of the traditional schooling because having gone through the traditional thing and realized there's not as much value as people perceive, I allowed them to follow the passion. So the elder one picked up on his memory training and chess. The younger one is actually district chess champion, and he wants to do more on chess and other things. And the bigger thing that got me before I even go into the product thing, right? When I was suffering, then I learned that Amazon, like in case something had happened to me, these assets still will be passed down to the family. And I don't know how it works outside of Amazon, but in terms of copyrights for all these things and the royalties, they get uh, given to your family. And that was one of the reasons I just stuck to a bigger company, right, to start with, rather than doing individual products. And now the process is so streamlined. I was actually after the launch, which we'll talk about, I felt sick, and I can just show my son what I was doing, and he can just spend 10, 15 minutes and make sure even when I'm sick, the business keeps running and he can take it over. So this has the potential of becoming a family business. If you want to put it that way, digital family business. And that way, the kids don't have to worry about finishing college and going to work immediately. They can still focus on the passion. If they cannot make money from the passion, then they can always have a fallback financial option available. So that's creating their own little stock market. And so with that said, what I did was basically the 8 years I have published, and now it's getting close to around $500,000 in terms of earnings on Amazon alone. So I just wanted to say, okay, this system gave me the time freedom, the financial freedom, freedom to volunteer. We volunteered at schools for orphans for some time, and took parents out almost throughout all the spiritual places in India. And this all this was possible because of this. While it seems a very simple system, the nuances inside, like what you told, the research, getting the right proofreader, and all those things were still something that had a lot of value in sharing. So basically, I had just like you, I had taken a lot of courses while I was learning this publishing. So I was just brainstorming with a few of them and said, this is certainly something that has to be shared. And that is how it started. And I just kept it simple. So I just started writing. And the first 20% was my story of lying struggle. And they told, before even I went to the system, they told, this has to be created as a product and sold, because this will motivate people who are like either having health issues, and it can be any health. And that issue can be anything. It can be health or finance or whatever it is. But having a system that can change life is certainly going to be valuable. And that's how it started. And was able to knock off the product in a week because the system is just like running subconsciously now inside me. And then we fine tuned it, and I worked with a person who helped me launch it on a Warrior Plus platform, which probably you're aware of. And then I just once it took the shape, we decided what we are going to do. It was a PDF, and then I started to add more value. Added how to design covers using AI, how to create stories using AI, and all those stuff, and it became like a complete full-blown funnel of products. Then I just requested people, and almost 25 people who I had bought products from were ready to promote. So we just started, because I didn't know where it was going. I had done a product launch long time back when I started out, and in the first day it sold like 250 copies. It became the deal of the day on Warrior Plus. And it sort of organically grew, because mostly, unfortunately, that marketplace, people sell like hacks, make money like yesterday, and you can become a millionaire in a day. So all of them were rooting for this product because this was a completely proven system with no gimmicks. And if it becomes it's just a proof that system which is authentic still works in this marketplace. And it blew my expectations, because in the first week of launch it crossed 1,000 sales, and it became deal of the day, and then it became deal of the week, and all organically from people who I bought to learned. It was a reciprocity from them. It was, I'm very thankful for that. The only thing is, after this I became sick, and again the KDP books helped me out because my son was able to run the system, so it sort of evened out. But the system itself, yeah, it's a simple system. It's I think I don't know, I probably wrote a little bit too long. It's like 100, almost touching on 200 pages, the main core system, where I basically detail every single step which we spoke about now. And yeah, I can share the links with you if people are ready, and I can create a coupon for your folks, certainly. And after that went out, the people told this is good and it's simple. Especially the fact which we spoke about, that small nuances in creating a system and completely outsourcing it. And I think that's where you get the time freedom and family freedom. And but the problem is, people miss that initial part where we do have to do the research, we do have to put in and understand the market. And once that happens, it can be systemized. So I put it in as simple framework as possible. And I also divided into different phases, just like how I went through. The first one was $100 just in earnings, and that gave the confidence to go in. And then it became like a $200 per month. And then, so basically, I have different phases which people can go through if they like. I can certainly share the links with you. And I have my blog as well, where I am starting to write. And I had taken a break the last 3 weeks after the launch, and I have my Substack running. I can share all those links with you. It goes with my name, ramsharma.me. And Substack also, there are a lot of people. In fact, some of the people who bought Subscribe, I didn't have a paid option on Substack, but the passive system and the stories resonated, and they told we have to pay you money. And they forced me to open a payment on Substack, and I got 3 paid subscribers there. So it was an interesting launch. It's for the fact that it made me a little sick because after Lyme, I really never pushed myself, and I had to work across the time zone. I was awake every single night for a week, but it was so exciting at that time to see the numbers clicking, and then it became so like addictive. Okay, 500 crossed, 600 crossed, 700 crossed. It was a great launch, and I hope I can replicate. But it came with a lot of support from my mentors like you, and but end of the day, it was a great feeling. And in fact, like I told Neil, who I was working with, he has a IRN system. He doesn't promote it at all. So then he got the idea, like if someone wants one-on-one coaching, so some of my customers I referred, and a few of them are now his clients as well. So it ended out much more beautiful than we had ever planned. And I can certainly share the links if you would like for the
Yeah,
product and for my blog and Substack.
yeah, so I'll have links that'll go along with this video to the product. And to recap that product, you lay out basically the process that you go through. So we've kind of given a high level, but how does it all work? What are the kind of like the nuts and bolts of the process? I appreciate you being willing to share that in the links to different resources and stuff. So we'll provide that for you. And congrats again on the success of your business, and then also sharing with other entrepreneurs, other people who want to create the time freedom to be able to build a business like that, sharing with them how they can do something similar for themselves. And it's also a lesson unto itself. My first big successful launch was also on the Warrior Forum, and like you said,
So,
the Warrior Forum. For those who aren't familiar with it, it's like a lot of internet marketing courses. There is a lot of stuff on there that's like the make money overnight kind of sort of stuff. So when you do have something that's legitimate, like a really solid, proven business, then it does tend to rise to the top. And yeah, hitting the deal of the day is awesome. And so we'll have links to all of that. And any other final? I also want to make a point on that is this is a great thing. I remember when I had my, it was my third book that I published that really took off and was successful. And I'm like, I want to share with others, what I discovered. That's what got me into this. And you have a similar experience, like you achieve a level of success and I want to share with others to help them. So that's also something to keep in mind. I mean, it's a great way to give back. And then obviously it can be another successful business revenue stream is to be able to look at anything you've done in your life and say, you know, you go through all these courses, you're trying to make sense, this works, this doesn't work, you're trying to put it together, and eventually you kind of find a system that works for you, and then you can now share that with others. So for anyone watching this, consider putting together a course or offering coaching or guiding people. If you've had something in your life, it doesn't have to be around business, maybe it's around parenting or dog training or whatever it is. Maybe you have something that you've really discovered a solution for that you can now share with others. All right, yeah. So thank you so much for this. As we wrap up, any final words of inspiration or anything that you want to share with anyone watching this?
yes, certainly. Last week I was hearing you talk about death, and in fact, that we all have a finite life, right? We don't know when it's the last day. And Steve Jobs, I remember, had a quote also, like he works like it's the last day of his life, and unfortunately, people take it a bit too seriously because we are not here to just keep working, right? We all have our priorities, and it depends. You want to have a family, you want to have kids, or you want to travel, or you just want to sit and meditate, or whatever you want, right? And those things are much bigger than creating a business, a system, or making money. Yes, this is a tool. Basically, money is a tool which gives us freedom, and if we prioritize that, and that's where it. In fact, if not for Lyme, I'm very thankful. In fact, one of the best things is, sometimes when you go through the pain, you take a moment to reflect on what happened. If not for the pain, we would have been on a completely different ladder, like Steve Coffey puts it. Right? We end up successful, but we are on a completely different building altogether. And you look around, you see nothing there. So I would rather the pain gave me the time to introspect, which gave me the time to spend so much time with the kids. And still, people around me think I'm crazy because nowadays with the world, with all these phones and things, I can proudly say the kids are not addicted to the phones. They are more addicted to the chessboard and books, and that was one of the side benefits, because I sit there reading all the time, working on something. And now the elder one is finished and he wants to learn about stock market and all these things. And rather than what degree and what job he's going to get. And this is the side effect of having your own passive system. You can pass it down to your family. And I just want to end with one thing: we all have finite lives. And if this was the last month you're going to leave, are you still going to do what you're doing? you know is working and making money more important than spending time with the people you love? And that was what got me. It was almost on a trajectory to get to one of the biggest financial banks. If not for the Lime, I would have been working in some Wall Street making tons more money, but probably I would not be alive because that stress combined with Lime would have killed me. So that gave me time to reflect back, and I thought, okay, this is complete. Let's start all over. And while I made much lesser, but I'm much more content, and I will never change anything. And that's what I want people to take. So yes, go for the money. Certainly, without money, we cannot do anything in this world, unfortunately. But that should be just a means to the end, not the end itself.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you once again doing everything that you've done and then now being so generous with your time here to share with us here today.